to the Knitting Jungle podcast. This is episode 3, and for everyone new here, my name is Sara. I live here right outside of Boston with my husband and 2 little girls, and this is a podcast about everything I've been knitting on. I primarily like to knit with wool, non-superwash wool, rustic wools, and things like that. So if you're new here, welcome. Thank you so much for watching, and to all my returning viewers, it's nice to see you again, and thank you for all your lovely comments. I read them all and I try to respond to all of them. I think I'm all caught up by now, but thank you so much. Those comments just really make my day. So it's been a couple weeks since my last episode. I've been super busy. I think episode 2 left off right before Memorial Day weekend. So what did we do? On the long weekend we went into Boston, just walked around and had lunch, and then the next day I think we went to the beach. The weather was perfect, but the water is still icy cold here, so I did not go in the water. And then the day after that was my birthday, and so I got some birthday yarns, and I'll be showing those at the end if you're interested in yarn acquisitions. The week after that, I went to San Francisco for a few days. I had a little miniature reunion with my college friends, so we all met up and just relaxed without kids for a few days. It was really, really nice and much needed. I also picked up some yarn in San Francisco, which I'll include at the end. And yeah, I enjoyed walking around the city. We used to live in San Francisco for about 8 years, and we moved back to Massachusetts about 2 years ago. So it was really nice to get back, and I just really missed the weather and the architecture there. Anyways, enough about that. Let's get into the knitting. So my first finished object I'm already wearing. This is the Jaipur Kofte by Thistle. She's a Norwegian designer, and I got this from her book, which has tons of beautiful colorwork cardigans. I highly recommend you check it out. I bought it directly from her website, which was a website in Norwegian, but I just used Google Translate. And I got the yarn from her website as well, which I'll talk about in a sec. Anyways, just a little disclaimer for this pattern. I did not really follow the directions at all. I basically just use all of her colorwork charts as a general guide, and I just cast on, based on my swatch, I cast on whatever certain amount of stitches that would create my hip circumference, and I worked it from the bottom up following her color charts exactly, pretty much. So let me stand up and show you a little bit. So here in the hem, I deviated from the pattern here a little bit. So I made, her version had very little hem, it was kind of like this, but I thought I wanted more of a ribbed hem, so I made that longer. And then I went directly into her first colorwork pattern, or colorwork chart for this section here. Then, if you saw my first episode, you'll see this kofte here, which was my first colorwork kofte that I made. And I really wish I had put pockets into that one. So for this one, I bound off 42 stitches for a pocket, and then on the next round I cast on 42 stitches and then just continued knitting in the round from there. Then after I had worked up some more, I picked up stitches for the pocket bag lining, I mean. So that made a really nice pocket. It's totally seamless, I think, from the front. It lays nice and flat. And then I picked up stitches here right on the edge so that it would be a little, well, it was rolling down, so it needed a little bit, a few rows of stitches here just so it would lay nice and flat. Then I also changed the waistband here. Her version is beautiful with many, many colors, and it's quite a bit wider. So I didn't want that much of a waistband. I didn't have every single color she used, so I changed that as well. And then then this whole section is as she has it. It's a beautiful pink and green pattern. And then for this top portion, I followed her chart for her top portion, which happens above the waistband. And for the sleeves, I think I followed the chart pretty closely for this. I think hers had a rolled hem, like no hem at all, just like it was just like straight stockinette and was like rolling back on itself. So I added a hem there, and then there's actually 3 colorwork sections, 1, 2, and 3. These 2 here and here are kind of a little bit hard to tell, but maybe you can tell this one has more of a green background, this has more of a pink background. And she had little colorwork bands separating the sections, but I thought I didn't want so many lines on my arm, so I just skipped that part as well. And I hope she can forgive all the alterations I made, because it is her original pattern is beautiful. I just altered it a little bit to suit my taste and out of laziness. Her sleeves are not raglan style. I forget how, I think what she had was maybe a steeked opening originally, and then you pick up stitches or sew the sleeve on, and I don't like the bulk that creates. So I knit the sleeves separately up until the armpit, and I knit the body up until the armpit as well. Then I joined them at the armpit after binding off, I think 12 stitches on the body right here, and I bound off 12 stitches on the sleeve here where they were going to connect, and then that is a seam. And then once the 2 sleeves have been attached to the body, then I knit in the round all the way up to the yoke and did raglan decreases all the way up to really high. I did it as high as I wanted my back neck to be. Then when I finished that, I cut open a neckline because I don't like a neck way up here. I think this is a little more flattering. So I steeked the neckline and then picked up stitches for the neckband. Before I did that, I think I probably steeked down the middle as well. And then, yeah, then I did the neckband, which is just knit. I didn't want to do ribbing because I don't like how 1x1 ribbing looks too much. So I knit it about 1 inch, then I did a roll of purl bumps, and then I continued knitting, and I folded it back on itself on the row with the purl bumps. One thing I'm not too happy about is the button band. I think it needed to be double thickness, so I think I'm going to pick up stitches on this turning edge and knit a few rolls so that it can fold back on itself, because right now it's pretty weak and bubbling up a little bit. But I think that's okay. I mean, I think it's a quick fix. I'm not devastated over it because I'm pretty sure I will fix it. And then let me show you this beautiful ribbon I got to hide the raw edge of the steek. I got this from the Woolly Thistle. Here's the inside. One thing I like about this pattern is that I didn't have to catch any floats. So the pattern, or the charted color work, has no floats longer than 3 stitches, which is great if you don't like to catch floats. In the first kofte I made, I did catch my floats every 3rd stitch, so knit, knit, catch, knit, knit, catch. And it does waste a little bit of time doing that, so I thought I will be lazy this time and see how much faster things knit up without catching any floats. And there didn't seem to be any consequences, thanks to the pattern. So yeah, this one knit up a lot more quickly than this guy over here. So this is knit up in Hillesvåg Ask. It's a 100% Norwegian wool, kind of a rustic woolly wool, non-superwash of course. And I don't find it too scratchy. It's definitely not soft, but this type does not bother my skin at all. And after I washed and soaked it, it did soften up a little bit. And I would say if you've ever used Rauma Fino garn, I would say it feels exactly the same as that, which is what this one is made out of here. Yeah, I would say the feel of this, of the Hillesvåg Ask and the Rauma Fino, is indistinguishable. And oh, and the Rauma is a lot easier to get here in the US, so if you want something like this, I would suggest going with that. The Hillesvåg Ask I had to get directly from Sidseal's website, and there was some shipping costs. It wasn't astronomical, but it is definitely something to factor in. One positive about this yarn is that it's slightly thicker than the Rauma Fino. So I used a 3.0 millimeter needle for the Rauma Fino. And with this one I got to use a 3.5, so the sweater is going to work up even more quickly. So that is definitely a benefit. And this comes, the Hillesvåg As comes in dozens and dozens of colors, especially if you purchase it from somewhere in Norway. I think there's maybe like 30 to 50 different colors. And so the colors I chose are a lovely combo of pink and green. So in her original Jaipur Kofte, she used the same pinks as the background, but instead of green, she used a kind of like an olive brown, like a yellowish brown ochre type of color. And I thought that looked really good as well, except my favorite color combination is pink and green, so I just had to go with that. As you can see, even my walls, or the trim in my room, is like the same shade of green, so I match my room perfectly now. And as I said, I knit this on 3.5 millimeter needles, and for the hem and the rib and all the button bands and everything, that was knit in 3.0 millimeter needles. So here's the pink shade. I'll put, I think it's called Lis Rosa. And here is the beautiful green shade. This is my favorite shade of green. I use this this exact shade in a lot of my projects. I'll put the exact number and name below. So these are the two main colors of the whole project. And this is my third ball, or my third skein of the green. Each one of these comes in 100 grams, so quite generous and quite affordable, minus the shipping, fees. And this is my second ball of the pink. And then for there's like lime green, a little bit of lime green in the sleeve. I used hardly any of that. I probably could have substituted that with a ball of Rauma Fino or something easier to get. That's okay. And then there's also a medium pink here, accented. That I did use Rauma Fino because I couldn't get that shade in the Hillesvåg Ask. And even though the Rauma Fino was a little bit thinner, I think it worked out well and it blocked out nicely. And I used less than a ball of that medium pink from Rauma. So overall, I think this weighs about maybe 500 to 550 grams. So it's super lightweight, it's really warm, it's soft, as long as, you know, the feeling of wool doesn't bother you. It is like kind of pretty hot here right now, but I can't wait to wear this in fall, and I have no problems knitting on wool over the summer because that just means I'll have a lot to look forward to wearing in the fall. So I think that's all I have to say about the Jaipur Kofte. Definitely check out Thistle if you are interested in making your first Colorwork sweater or kofte or something steeked. Her color combinations are works of art and so beautiful. Just take a look even if you don't want to knit something like this. So I'm going to take this off now because it's a little bit warm here. It's about, I think it's going to be about 78 degrees today, which is really mild for June. Usually here it goes from winter to summer like really quickly, and there's hardly any spring, maybe just like 1 or 2 weeks. But this year is the first time I can remember where you've got like 3 or 4 weeks of like perfect room temperature weather, like 75, 70 degrees. So yeah, I'm just really enjoying this spring. Phew, okay, that's better. Also, I forgot to say that I am so excited to be done with that kofte because I just want to make the next Colorwork sweater. So I was really enjoying knitting on that, but all I could think about was like the next project and the next project. Do you guys ever have that problem? Leave me a comment below if you're more of a end result type of knitter, or if you just enjoy the process and just sitting there knitting and it's okay if it never gets done type of thing. Okay, so now I've put my new kofte up here with her little friend, and we'll get into my whips. So here in my special knitting box, which is overflowing, is my latest whip. So what I'm working on is a vest. This is my first vest, and after knitting way too many sleeves the past couple months, a vest sounded pretty appetizing to me. So I got the idea to make a vest from the Woolly Thistle. I mentioned Woolly Thistle a lot. It's an online yarn store in New Hampshire, which is pretty close by to where I live. And they've got a really nice podcast, and they stock all sorts of rustic and woolly yarns and non-superwash, and they really champion wools from the UK and just like all over the world, all sorts of rustic wools. Anyway, so they're doing a vest knit along. What's it called? KAL. And so that inspired me to knit my first vest in Colorwork, of course, because I get bored if it's just plain stockinette. So this is a little bit messy to show, but this is called the Bifurca vest by Teti's Knits. She also has a nice YouTube channel. I highly recommend you check that out. She's a Ukrainian-based designer, or I don't think she's Ukrainian, but she doesn't live in the Ukraine anymore. And I believe she's a botanist, so all of her designs are plant-based, or the theme is plant, and she has really nice plant colorwork types of patterns. So here's how far I've gotten. I cast this on the airplane on my way to San Francisco last week, and I've knit maybe, I don't know, maybe like 15 hours on this. So for this pattern, she recommends using a DK weight, I believe. And I'm using a yarn that's much thinner. I'm using Biches 8 Bouche Les Petite Lambswool. And in the colors, here's the background color. This one is called Off-White Ecru. There. This one's called Off-White Ecru. And I already got rid of the band for this, but it's some type of brown. Kind of like a yellowish brown, I would say. Just creates such a cozy color scheme, and I thought I wear a lot of white, so I thought this would be a nice color combination to wear with the clothes that I already own. So when I think about what I'm going to make next, I try to think about what is going to work with my existing wardrobe so that it doesn't just sit in the closet but actually gets used. So like I said, the yarn I used is a lot thinner than the one she recommends. So when I did my swatch, I did some calculations, and I saw that my swatch was about 10% smaller than it should have been. So for the size I wanted, assuming I was going to use the original DK weight, I think it was going to be a size 3. So what I did was I saw how many stitches that the size 3 was going to be cast on, and I increased that by 110%. So that gave me the size 9. So if that makes any sense, I decided to follow the instructions for the size 9 to meet my gauge. And I think it's working out well. I mean, the little try-on I did looks okay, and I'm not afraid to jerry-rig any problems that come up. And actually, I spent about 4 hours on the plane doing just this twisted rib. Oh, by the way, I love twisted rib. It's like 1x1 ribbing, except instead of knit, you knit one through the back loop. I'm sure most of you probably already know what that is, but I'd never done that before. And I thought that looks so beautiful. And I don't like how 1x1 ribbing looks, but I love how this looks. But knitting through the back loop can be a little tricky with thin yarn, and these are 3.0 millimeter needles, so that did take a while. It took like 4 hours on the plane. Anyways, after I'd finished the whole ribbing for the neckline, I realized I was counting my stitches to get ready to go to the colorwork section, and I noticed I had cast on 50 extra stitches. So I had done so much extra work, and I I just kind of sat there for like 10 minutes trying to figure out if I should start over or like what I should do. And what I decided to do was my typical cut and paste type of solution. So what I did was I cut my work. Well, first I didn't have a sewing machine. I was just like in my hotel room, but I just took some yarn and kind of, you know, did stitches on the line I wanted to save, and then I cut it in the middle and I cut out those 50 stitches, and then I tried to just sew them back together. And here, and luckily it was on the back portion, or I decided to make this fix on the back. So it's right here, the two sewed edges, and on the wrong side you can see where I have done that fix. Well, maybe you can see. So overall, I'm very pleased with this solution. I really didn't want to waste another 4 hours knitting the band, and I think in the end, once I tidy up that section, you won't be able to tell, and it's in the back, so no harm done. So that seems to be a common theme with me, where there's a giant grievous error somewhere in the beginning of my project, and then I have to cut and sew and keep working like nothing ever happened. So yes, I'm knitting this on 3.0 millimeter needles. It's pretty thin yarn, so sometimes, yeah, it's like a 2-ply, 2 yarns twisted together. So sometimes I'm having trouble like splitting the yarn, but overall it's not too bad. And the resulting fabric is just so beautiful that I can forgive any problems I'm having for now. If things start to go wrong later, I will probably get mad. And here's the reverse side. I was not too diligent about catching floats. I think I tried to every 3rd stitch, but here and there a longer float exists. So yeah, I think the Woolly Thistle vest knit along is going at least another month, so I think I've got some time to finish. Just last night oh, and I love this little pearl bump detail here. That's really pretty. Just like something subtle, I really like that. So last night I finished or no, I didn't even finish, but I'm working on like the front section here. Then I need to elongate the back section, and then you pick, I won't say too much because it's a paid pattern, but then you like pick up and knit the sides. So I don't know what percentage of the way I am through with this, but I am done with the colorwork section, so that's nice. Things will be going a little bit faster from here on out. Let me tell you a little bit more about the Biches and Buches yarn. Sorry, I don't speak French. Okay, Les Petite Lambswool. It's 100% lambswool made in the UK. It's dyed and spun at a family-owned fibre mill in Scotland. So yeah, it's beautifully soft, softer than the sheep's wools I was talking about here, and very thin. It's not too soft, it's not like alpaca or anything, but it's very soft. And I have another lambswool project I'm working on. It's a sweater for my husband. You'll see that in episode 1 if you're interested in, and it's, I would say, yeah, it feels about the same as this. So yeah, I really am liking lambswool. I just love this knitting box. I mean, normally it's not this messy, but I got this, I think it was like a sewing box, and I got this secondhand on Etsy. It's got a little Velcro to close, and it's just nice. You can prop your like phone up here if you're watching something. So yeah, just wanted to show some love for my knitting box there. Okay, my next whip is a little baby sweater. So I mentioned in my last podcast that when I was visiting San Francisco, I was going to meet one of our friends' baby for the first time. I think he's like 5 months old, and I made him this little knitted penguin. It's a very cute pattern. You can check out my episode 2 if you want to see more about that. But anyways, while I was in San Francisco, I gave him his little penguin, and he really liked it, and his parents really liked it. So that's really rewarding when you can see someone enjoy your gift knit. But anyways, he was so cute. And I decided to continue on the sweater. I started it more than a month ago and it wasn't going so well. So this is the Ingrid sweater for baby by Petite Knit. She's got an adult version of this as well. So I started this maybe 2 months ago and the gauge was super off. I mean, my gauge matched what she asked for, but as I started knitting it up, it looked like it was going, I was trying to make like a 6-month-old size, and this is huge. This is for like maybe a 3-year-old. So this is the first one I knit, and I just like ripped that out to save the yarn, and I decided to start again in 1 full needle size down. So I went, it was originally 4.5 millimeters, so I went down to a 3.5 millimeter needle, and instead of knitting the 6 to 9 month size, I decided to knit the 0 to 3 month size, and look how big it still is. I don't know, there must be something wrong with the pattern. I don't know, it could be me as well. I'm using Sandnes Garn Double Sunday in this beautiful muted pale green color, which I thought is perfect for a baby. Anybody could wear this color. And I do like the pattern apart from the sizing issue. It's got these little fake cables where you don't need a cable needle for them. And ooh, I really like this. This is called Double Moss Stitch. And it takes a really long time, but it's like such a cozy, beautiful texture. So I like that. Some 2x2 ribbing. And yeah, I finished the body and I did an Italian bind off here to keep it nice and stretchy. This is gonna need blocking for sure. It looks kind of funny right now. So yeah, after I finished the body, I was not too excited to get working on the sleeves, and I thought, I just want to cancel this. I don't want to work on this anymore. I want to get back to working on my Colorwork sweaters. But it's kind of sunk cost fallacy when you've wasted so much time. I mean, not wasted. When you've spent so much time knitting something, you don't want all of your hours and hours of hard work to go to waste, so you might as well finish. But the compromise I came to was to ignore the patterning for the sleeves and just knit straight stockinette stitch because I want this done fast. And instead of knitting the sleeves in the round, which is too fiddly, I decided to knit it flat and then I will seam it up at the end. So that is extremely lazy of me, but if it means I will actually finish this project, then that's okay. So yeah, maybe I'm not even halfway done with the first sleeve. But I do like how it's turning out. It's definitely going to fit the baby. As long as it's not too small, that's all that matters, right? And they're actually coming to visit us. Oh no. Oh my gosh, they're coming to visit us next week. Okay, so I better stop working on that vest and pick up this. I think I could probably finish this in like 1 or 2 days, just the sleeves. Because then it will need to be washed and blocked before they come next week. Oh gosh, okay, good thing I thought about that. And oh yeah, I said 3.5 millimeter needles, and yeah, it's very soft. It's 100% merino wool. So yeah, perfect for a baby, even if they have sensitive skin, I think. I think it's non-superwash. But if it is, that's even easier to take care of for the parents. I think I got 3 balls of this yarn, and I've got this much left of the second ball. And then I have all this to unravel for my first attempt. And I think I have an extra ball laying around somewhere, and I better make sure I find that before I run out, because then I certainly won't finish in time for next week. So that's it for my whips. I was spending a lot of time knitting this guy and the vest, so that's it for now. And now, so it was my birthday a couple weeks ago, and I went to San Francisco. So with all those special occasions combined, I do have some nice yarn acquisitions to show you if you're interested. So first, when I was in San Francisco, I walked about 6 miles, and I went to all my old favorite neighborhoods and walked all around. and I made my path based on where all the yarn stores were. So this is from I never made it to one of the 3 yarn stores I was planning. The first one I went to, I didn't like the yarns there. It was too much superwash and like crazy dyed, like crazy hand dyed yarns, and I don't really like that tie-dye effect in yarn. I like more natural colors. But the second yarn store I went to was on Haight Street, if you've heard of Haight Street. It's called Firebird Yarns, and this is a yarn developed by their store. So they had a whole pile of yarns that were like single fleece origin. The sheep were grown in Northern California, and the yarn was spun up there, and then they brought it to the Firebird yarn store, and each skein was completely different, and it's all natural wool colors. So I looked through their bin and I picked this one. It was pretty expensive, so I just bought one. But it's a beautiful chestnut brown color, and it's so soft and squishy. I rummaged through the whole pile and I just found the one that I thought was the softest, because each skein came from a different sheep. So I guess, you know, all sheep are different, so I was just touching every single one, and this one spoke to me the most. It's a nice twisted, squishy, and so soft. Almost has like a felted kind of feel. So this is 100% naturally colored charcoal Corriedale sheep, single fleece origin, and the sheep was grown at Marble Peaks Ranch and was processed in Yolo County, those are places in Northern California. And this one is 400 yards, or 380 meters, and it's 90 grams, so very lightweight. And I have no idea what I'm going to make with this, but you know, when you see a yarn that you like and it speaks to you, you get it and you figure out the pattern later. I don't know. If you have a suggestion for me, please leave it in the comments below and I will greatly appreciate it. But it's so soft. I think maybe something that's worn close to your face, maybe a cowl or mittens, because this looks really warm. Like, it looks like a lot of air it can be trapped in here. I don't know, but I'm very excited to use it. So next up are yarns I got for my birthday. So my family knows me pretty well, so there's not a single yarn here that I don't like. Okay, the first yarn I got is from West Yorkshire Spinners. This is their 100% British wool fleece, and it's from the blue-faced Leicester sheep. It's an Aran weight, and again a beautiful chocolate brown color. So yes, this one's called BFL Aran, and the color is dark brown 003. They suggest a 5mm needle, or maybe seems more like a 4mm needle if you want a nice dense warm knit. And it's 166 meters or 182 yards, and it's a 100 gram hank. So this is also super soft. If I compare it to this one is airier, and the dark one is airier and softer, and this one is more tightly spun, but very similar in terms of softness. Definitely more soft than the Norwegian yarns I was knitting with before up here. So I've never knit with this type of sheep breed, blue-faced BFL. Yeah, I've heard of that, but I've never used it, so I'm really excited to use that. And again, no idea what I'm going to make with that, but I'm excited to use it. The next couple of yarns are sock yarns. This is from Qing Fibre Company, and this is their Fjord base. And I have two colors here. One is like a light pink, and one is maybe medium to medium light gray. and I thought these would be so perfect for a pair of socks. I like the idea of dainty little pink and gray socks, either all pink, all gray, or maybe a color combo like knit the heel in gray and the rest in pink, something like that. And this is a lace weight sock. Each one of these is 100 grams, and these are 80% lambswool and 20% nylon. So these will make a nice sturdy pair of socks for sure. So I've never made socks before, so these will be great for my first test subject. I'm really interested in making either a cabled sock or a lace, like a lacy sock. No, maybe not lace. I think cabled, but not, lace might have too many holes in it for socks, right? So I think maybe a cabled sock with a cable on the front would be nice. So I'll try to find a pattern like that for my first pair. This is very soft. Oh, lambswool again. Yeah, lambswool is definitely a theme today. Oh, sorry. The gray one is called koala, and the pink one is called lace. I thought it was just lace weight, but it's actually fingering weight. So lace and koala. Can't wait to use them. So my last set of yarn that I got for my birthday was from Garthenor. I don't know how to pronounce that, but I think it's like kind of well-known UK-based yarn company. The first one I got is their Snowdonia base. It's 100% organic wool, and this is the shade Mole Hebog. So it's like a nice beige, in between beige and gray yarn. And I was planning to use this for socks because it's pretty thin, it's got a nice high twist. There's no nylon in it, but I do want to experiment with making socks with no nylon content in it. So this one is... So this yarn is made from wool grown on a family-run certified organic farms in Wales, England, and Scotland. So I guess it's a blend of different sheep grown in those places, and it's 95% Romney sheep, 5% Hebridean, and 200 meters or 219 yards per skein, and it's 50 grams. It's a 4-ply fingering weight. And it suggests a needle size between 2.25 and 2.75. Oh yeah, it says it's perfect for socks right here on the label. Socks, sweaters, and shawls, classic fingering weight. So now I've got 3 different sock yarns to try. We're taking a family vacation in August with my husband's parents and his aunt and uncle, and my husband's brother and his wife and daughter, so my kid's cousin. We're taking a big family trip to Southern California in August. So one lovely commenter suggested socks for the airplane. I thought that was such a smart idea. I don't know how I didn't think of that. You know, a nice small project. You probably won't run out of socks to make, but it's nice and small, perfect for traveling. So I'm definitely going to be bringing at least a couple of sock projects on that trip. Okay, also from Garthenor I got these 2 yarns. This is their Beacons base. This is currently on sale for like 10 bucks each. I don't know how much it normally is. I think it was like normally 15 or 17 each. So I thought this was a great deal. This is, let's see what's going on here. Oh, it's organic Polworth sheep. I think that's why it's so soft. Ooh, this is very soft. This is like alpaca soft almost. And this one also has Romney wool added, this white color. And this very, very light gray color also has Hebridean wool added. So they're slightly different blends, but they feel exactly the same. I think it's probably just like, oh, okay, it's got the percentage. So this light gray one is 75% Polworth. They both have 75% Polworth. This one, the light gray, has 22% Romney and 3% Hebridean. A very, very light gray. Here is the off-white cream color. This one is called Rigging, and this one is called Marble. I don't know if they would work together. Oh, might I add, this is extremely generous of the person who got this for me, but I've got a sweater's quantity of each of these colors. So I think I have 7 of this and 7 of that. So I think that could make a sweater. And this is so soft and cozy. I was thinking of making like a collegiate sweater, like a pullover, like casual, but like super comfy. And have you ever heard of Block Island? It's an island in Rhode Island that I used to go to as a kid with some family friends. Like every year we would go here. And I want to make a Block Island sweater, like a pullover I mean, and put like have this as the base, and then this yarn I'm about to show you as the like letters Block Island, and then make a picture of the island below. So that's my idea for this. And so these, since this was on sale, they only had these light colors. So for a contrasting color, the website suggests you use this, which is called their number 3 base. It's the same exact weight. It's not quite as soft, but as an accent color for letters or something like that, I think it'll be perfect. So this is their number 3 base. It's organic Shetland wool, and the color is called Chalkboard. And I would call it a very, very, very dark brown color. 100% Shetland wool. This one's 50 grams and about 115 meters or 126 yards. This one was grown in West Wales and Southwest England, and then spun up in West Wales, or spun in Lanarkshire and hand finished in West Wales. Okay, so it's all over the UK. This guy has traveled very far and then all the way to me in Massachusetts. So these yarn, I'm not showing you every skein I have, but these are the 3 colors. And so this is going to be my next cozy sweater. Phew! Okay, well that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed seeing my latest kofte and all the yarn I got for my birthday and my trip to San Francisco. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for watching again. I love having you around and reading your comments, and I hope you enjoy this episode as well. If you're new here, please consider subscribing if you want to see more of my projects. I hope you're all having a lovely spring with perfect weather and that you're all knitting on a project that you love. Thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode. Bye!